Feel the fear and go for it. We fear what we don't know. We fear the process. Feel the fear and go for it. The only way you're going to get to what you need to do or what you would like to achieve is you got to feel the fear. Don't run away from it. Don't shy from it. Don't try to hide behind a tree. Don't try to lay underneath a rock. Go for it. Head first. Feel the fear and go for it. And ultimately, that will push you to your destiny. Because practice makes perfect. You got to go through the hardships to experience the joy. You got to go through the downs to experience the highs. And you got to feel the fear and go for it. Do it for yourself.
That is Preston Russell this week on the Do It For Yourself podcast. Hey everyone, how's it going? How are you doing? Is your training going well? Are you tracking your macros? Have you taken the first step on your journey yet? If not, what are you waiting for? Maybe a little bit of inspiration? Well, today's guest is most certainly going to help you with that. First of all, welcome. This is the Do It For Yourself podcast, and my name is Ian. And each week, I dive deep into the story of someone who is doing it for themselves. And my guest today is nothing shy of amazing. He needs little to no introduction, but Mr. Preston Russell, otherwise known as P, will be on the show today. If you've been to the southern Delaware beaches, anywhere between Rehoboth and Bethany, specifically the town of Dewey, there's a very solid chance that you have run into P somewhere along the way. It may have been at the starboard, it may have been at the rudder, definitely could have been at North Beach, or maybe you just saw him coming down the street and he was definitely somebody that looked like they were having a good time, and that is exactly what P does. P is an entrepreneur. He's a speaker, a business owner, and a world traveler. He has built and sold multiple companies, completed his master's degree, along with becoming a licensed real estate agent. Are you getting tired just trying to keep up with all of that? Well, hang on, because this episode, it's going to be a wild ride, but I'm really, really excited to share this all with you. And the biggest change that P had made during his journey was when he decided to spend a summer in Dewey Beach, Delaware. And that was about 2 years ago. And since then, he's never come back. He's now a full-time resident down there, and he's managing multiple restaurants and helping the owners of those restaurants kind of set up and lay out and start new restaurants along with the ones that he is currently managing. But the most interesting part is P didn't go in there waving around his master's degree in business and telling everyone that he knew how to do this. He went in and he started from the bottom. He started as a barback and he worked his way up to the current position that he is in right now. So I don't want to give too much more of P's story away. I really want to let him tell it because this is just an absolutely amazing and wide-ranging discussion about everything that P has his hands in right now, starting from the time that he was 16 years old. So here is my interview with Preston Russell.
We don't have to leave that in there.
All right. Yeah, this is uncut, real, raw, how I live.
Yeah, no, that's what we got to do. That's how
It's-
we got to do it. You know
yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
pretty crazy.
So I'm here with P, Preston Russell. I just call him P. He's been P since the
Yep.
day that I met him.
Yep.
And we're here. We're just chilling out in the RV. And I think, from what I can tell, you like to spend money on experiences. You like to spend money on like doing things rather
Absolutely.
than physical things, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say that's how?
Absolutely. That's totally. Well, first and foremost, what's up, world? My name is Preston James Russell. Born in Maryland, raised in New York City, and real uncut, raw, hard worker. Everything just all encompasses my life, and I live to live life to the fullest. I'm very happy, very spunky, very upbeat all the time. That's why I don't drink coffee, because I'm already high off life. But as far as your question, yeah, I like to spend. I like to spend money on totally experience. Experience is my life. I've been through nothing but experiences throughout my whole life, and always exploring new things and exploring new cultures and exploring new sites. I'm always about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never spend money on just to spend it. I wanna get something out of it, whether it's like expanding my mind, my body, my soul, in some way, shape, or form that makes me a better human being, makes me a better man.
Yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yep.
And so you've always been a hard worker. I mean, you've had that since day one, you know?
Absolutely.
So, like when you were young, I know specifically like your parents were already setting you up to become a hard worker. So, you
Yep.
know, one of the first things that they did was they got you involved with the vending machines, you know, back in the day when the vending machine industry was probably booming. Yeah. So,
booming.
so talk to me a little bit about that and kind of how your parents like set you up
Yeah.
very early.
So my parents are very business oriented. They always sought out to make their own way and make their own living. So it was only right for me when they raised me to make sure that I had that same drive, that same aspiration to just be a go-getter and go get it. So my mom set me up to start selling candy out of our apartment, and it was unbelievable because I never wanted to do it, but my mom wanted for me to get the business aspect and to understand that this life is all about you have to work for something. And at a young age like that, you can't get a job or anything like that. So it was always important for me to like, hey, you know what? Let's sell some candy, see what happens. So I would tell kids on the street, hey, I'm selling candy. Come stop by the apartment. And M&M's, Skittles, Snickers, quarter waters, quarter juices. And from there, it took off. We used to have people knocking on the door all the time to come get juices or candy, even to the wee hours of the night. And it was always great because once I got that first like hit of like how many people supply and demand, that made me like, you know what, this is great. I want to inspire. And I got that first taste, and my mom was like, yep, this one's going to be a business guy. He's going to be on it. And from there, everything just took off from the vending machines and expanded my business to, I got to 21 vending machines. Yep.
So you were at 21 vending machines, and how old were you when you hit the 21 vending machines? So like you
I
were
was 16 years old.
all right. So you were probably like early middle school.
Started when I was 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Selling the candy.
Selling out
Oh,
of the
okay.
apartment at 9, 10 years old. And by the time I was 16, I had 21 vending machines. 22 actually. And I had them in barbershops, hair salons, office buildings. And it was great. And I was the one going to replenish them on a constant basis. It got from me going 3 times, like once every 3 weeks to once every week. And it was unbelievable because my vending machines, you only could use quarters.
Okay.
And it was to a point where I just had to have multiple people starting to help me, especially my mom. She drove me around. And then we had to hire someone else to help me, get through all the vending machines because 22 vending machines throughout the course of a day, especially when you're in school, it's only a limited amount of hours you have to time before businesses close up.
Right.
So it was good. It was good.
And so now you're 16 years old. Did you have any employees like working under you at 16?
I had two employees. Yep. There's a kid named Jonathan next door to me in an apartment building. He helped me out, and another kid, Brian. He was a Jewish guy. Awesome, loved it, and those were like my workers at a young age, so it was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
That's
yeah.
insane. And how?
Yeah.
So, how long you? I mean, that's at 16, but you kept the vending machines for quite some time after that too, right?
Yeah, I actually kept the vending machines until I was 21, and then I kind of hung it up because at that point I was in college. I couldn't oversee the business like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the times of evolution of life, technology got more advanced, businesses got more advanced, and kind of pushed the small business guy out.
Right.
Which was, hey, it happens, and my dad always used to tell me, son, you have to fail to see the greater light. You have to fail. You have to try things. If you fail, doesn't mean it's over. It just means it's a learning experience. So from the vending machines, I branched out into a clothing line. They called Cum Laude.
Yeah.
And I took it to the next level. That was the next chapter after that vending machine.
And that was when you were in college.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Cum Laude Editions, a product and clothing line for higher achievers. That was it. That was the slogan. It was great.
Now, when you were, because I'm sure even at 16, 17, 18 years old with the vending machines and everything,
Yep.
you probably got a pretty early taste of money and
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship and, getting out
Absolutely.
there and kind
Yep.
of the trade-off of, if you grind, you're out there and you're actually hustling, you're actually doing stuff,
Good things will happen.
you're going to get,
Yep.
you're going to start making some money.
Yep.
So after you graduated from high school, why did you make the decision to go on to college at that point, and what were you thinking about majoring in instead of maybe not pursuing vending machines further, but
Yeah.
but like your next thing?
It was more so just the business aspect. So I went to college from that experience I wanted to continue to pursue business. Business was my, like, that's what I looked forward to. My mom was the same way. Just business was our niche. It's where I felt comfortable as far as within the workplace. And which led me to go to Golden Beacon College in Wilmington, Delaware, which is a predominantly business school at the time.
Big time business,
Yeah, nationally accredited, 95% job placement rate after college. And I was fortunate enough to play college basketball at the same time. But it was always that business aspect which kept me coming. It kept me going. And it wasn't like a job for me. It was something that I was proud to do and I love to do. It's a big difference. I love doing business and creating my own business and expiring. It's like I wanted to do it myself. So, and that's what pushed me. That's what pushed me.
Okay, so now you're at Goldie, probably 20, 21 years old. When you're at Goldie, you hang it up on the vending machines. Did you sell that business, or did you kind of just start pulling?
I sold
machines?
the business.
Okay,
I sold the business outright. I actually started selling them individually to a small vending machine company, and then a gentleman came along and said, "I'll buy your whole fleet." And my mom and I worked out the terms, and we got one lump sum, and I took that capital and started a new business.
Okay, and this is the clothing business that you
Yep.
started.
Yep, Cum Laude Editions.
And
Yep.
this is, I think clothing it's probably one of the ones that a lot of people think to start off because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can make this shirt better, or I don't like this logo, or
Yeah,
whatever the
yeah.
case may be. But
Find
I
your own
feel
style.
like,
Yeah.
but I feel like the apparel industry is tough.
It is at that point in time. It's not as tough as it was, like it is now. Apparel is very tough because everybody has a paradox of choice now. It's not you just getting a pair of jeans. It's you're getting you can choose from sandblast, you can choose from ashy wash, that type of thing. But at that point in time, 21, style and fashion was on the horizon. From jerseys to for women, jersey dresses, but I wanted to do more of the athletic wear, the sports apparel, the things that you want to wear comfortably, to go running in, to go play basketball in, just to feel good. And that's when I started Cum Laude Editions.
So you started this while you're in college.
In college.
Playing basketball.
In college,
right?
yep, playing basketball,
So
everything.
you're hustling.
Yep.
You're getting this done. And did you start to pick up some traction with this brand? And
Yeah.
you started
Yeah.
really putting some stuff into production.
Yeah, but I also had to conform with times at that point because schools were starting to transfer over to uniforms. So I said, you know what? Instead of doing just sports apparel, I need to go into the uniform avenue because everybody has to send their child to a school now with uniforms now. And that was something that you had to do. So that was a great avenue for me to expand my business and excel. And take the capital that I made from uniforms and push the sports apparel a little bit harder.
Yeah, because even public schools,
Yeah.
a lot of times what they're doing is public schools in the city, which, Goldie Beacom, you're literally 15, 20 minutes away from Wilmington.
Yeah.
So you got all the schools in the city of Wilmington.
Yep.
A lot of them are doing uniforms. Even though it's a public school,
Yep.
it's still like the kids have to wear, a polo shirt, certain color, and a certain color pants. It doesn't, brand doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. But
Absolutely.
they got to wear, a certain
Yep.
shirt and pants. And a lot of the schools in Philadelphia are doing that too.
Yeah.
So
it was more so like a lot of the parents were afraid to go with the school's producer because the school always pushed someone for you to buy the uniforms for. But they were outrageously priced. I was coming in right at that price range where it was affordable for inner city kids to still have the uniforms to go to school, instead of the parents depleting their bank account for them to get to school. It's inner city is tough when you have to conform to the uniform policy and everything. It became outrageous. They overpriced stuff, and I wanted to make it affordable for everybody to have and for not to hinder because what they have on to go get their education. So that's why I came in a nice moderate rate to where parents could afford it and kids can go to school and get their education and strive to be greater. So that was it.
you're actually you're adapting as you go along.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
You
it's
have
like
to conform.
you had this idea of having an apparel business, but you saw an opportunity elsewhere because of the way that things were going, and you're like, wait a minute, if I just kind of pivot, if I kind of just make
Yep.
this this little sidestep,
Yep.
and that's what I forget who it was. I had somebody else on the podcast, and they're like, sometimes it's obviously, I'm sure you've heard it a million times. Like, success is never a straight line. It kind of looks like, the squiggly
Never.
line. It's going up, but it looks like this squiggly line as it goes up.
Yep.
You
Ups
got
and downs.
yeah, but you got to pivot. You got to take
Yep.
a sidestep. You got to kind of it's not a hard left, but it's like you kind of veer off to the left and adapt and change.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's with anything in life. That's with going into business. That's with going into school, going into sports. You have to adapt to certain situations, and you have to jump outside the box. It's not going to be standard. Everything is not cut and dry anymore. It is up and downs. There's going to be curveballs, and you have to say, you know what? You have to not be narrow-minded, and you have to open your mind to different avenues.
So you're selling uniforms now. You're helping these
Helping
kids
the kids,
out.
inner city kids. Yep.
And this is all how long does this go on for? How long did you keep the apparel business and keep
This went on until I was 26.
So this is just a couple years ago.
Yeah. I recently hung it up not too long ago, and the reason why is that it was time for something different. I started falling to the wayside because of producers started lowering their prices, so it pushed the small man out. Because I didn't have the biggest network, I didn't have the media, the website and everything. I was going off of mainly my word to mouth to people, saying I have uniforms, my business, my brand. I had flyers back then.
Right.
People had websites. I had my voice, and sometimes that's more powerful than anything. And that carried me for as long as it could, until producers started pumping out uniforms at a cheaper rate
And a more affordable price.
Yep, absolutely, for the kids.
Now, when it comes to your sourcing and everything, how did you find sources for the shirts, the pants, the materials? Was it all here in the States? Was it all States made? Did you go overseas?
It was all States made.
Okay.
It was through a third party producer, small business, small warehouse, and That's where I got my stuff from. It wasn't like Nautica or any other, don't mean to mention brand names, but it wasn't from one of those big producers that I would take it. It was from a third party, like a wholesaler.
Okay.
Went through a wholesaler to get the product.
And it was so everything was already made. You weren't like
Yeah, everything was pretty much made, but I branded a lot of the uniforms to the school that they went to.
so you like embroidered the
the
school
logo.
Okay, got it.
And which made them be able to go to school. Yep. And some schools didn't have to have the embroidered logo.
Right.
It was just me. I was just affordable.
Yeah.
I was just affordable.
You were your price was way more
Yep.
affordable as far as like the yellow shirt and the blue pants go,
Exactly.
as opposed to this company that the school was pushing.
Exactly. Because the school pushed a producer that was just literally outrageous. And
You saw that opportunity though.
and I seized the moment for as long as I could.
Yep.
And you know what? I kind of feel like I was the person to make those big producers lower their prices. You know, sometimes those small guys could always be in the eyes of the big man and say, you know what, this small guy is definitely getting the business.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Is it his pricing? Is it the quality? Is it the material? Mine's was mainly the price, you know. And but I did pump out a good quality of clothing, and people loved it. And I truly believe that it made the big man lower his prices.
Now, what happened to the athletic side? When you went school uniform route, did you kind of just let that go?
No, I actually continued to pump out the athletic apparel through the wholesaler because he had athletic apparel as well. And I bought that athletic apparel and just branded it with my logo, which is Cum Laude. And my brand was like a shield. It was multicolored. It was a very, very vibrant logo. And the reason why I did that, because I wanted to cater to all people. I didn't want it to be kind of streamlined to say, you know what, this is only for the inner city kids. This is not for the white collar kids or anything like that.
Right.
No, this is for everybody. And that's why I put multiple colors on it, because it stands for black, white, red, yellow, purple, people from all different nationalities and races. And that's where I excelled.
And that was for sports teams, right? Like
Yeah.
young kids,
Yeah.
like little
Yep.
kids football, like Pee Wee Football League and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did a lot of young sports programs that didn't have the funding, and most of the time, the money that I made from uniforms, I would give a Pee Wee football team or a young 9 and under basketball team uniforms from the money I made, and say, "Hey, listen, you're promoting my business as well, but also you have your uniforms to play." So that was an avenue, a way to get in. Sometimes you have to give out stuff free to expand your business in the long run. And then kids will run up and down the basketball court or be on a football field and say, "What's that logo?" And then I would be out there passing flyers around and say, "Hey, this is my clothing company. I also do school uniforms as well, other than sports." And it kind of just, everything went hand to hand.
Yeah.
And I always found a way to branch out.
I do want to ask you, because I'm sure that this is a question that not only like a lot of people ask while they're just trying to do like a side hustle and working a full-time job. Now you were doing a side hustle
school.
and going to school.
In
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So how did you balance the time to kind of get out in front of these kids? Because I'm sure a lot of the practices and a lot of that stuff was going on,
Absolutely.
in the evenings. Right, so you got to be studying, you got to be doing that.
I had great time management.
Okay,
And that's the key. A lot of people don't have great time management. I have fantastic time management. Through 24 hours in a day, throughout the course of a day, I get a lot. I wake up, I'm the first one up and the last one down. So I maximize my time more than the average person would do. I just wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted it bad enough. Like, nobody couldn't tell me anything. I wanted it. And when somebody told me I couldn't do it, it made me even go harder at my dreams and my aspirations to be great. And I just wanted to be a powerful man in any way, shape, or form, whether it's through clothing, whether it's through speaking, whether it's through sports, education. I just wanted to be powerful. And at that point, I knew what I wanted to do, and it was ultimately business. But what other avenues that I could touch people and help people? and also expand me and expand my business, and and give back.
So you were maximizing time where you could be instead of staying up late or studying in the evenings, let's say, because you knew, Pee Wee football practice is at 4 or 5 o'clock. So instead of studying in the evenings,
Yeah.
you were up early in the morning studying before class, so you could hit class and then still get to the Pee Wee football practice.
Absolutely. Me waking up early was a great way to, like you said, to study, and I would retain that information going into a morning class
Right.
and everything. And then whenever I had a slight bit of downtime, instead of sitting in the cafeteria for 3 hours, laughing and joking and cutting up, I would go back to my room and work and be a businessman, and I would do it in the privacy of my own apartment at the time, because Goldie Beacom had apartments on campus. I would shield myself off. I didn't want to be interrupted by outside things. I didn't want to be interrupted by someone, hey, let's go hang out in this room and let's play games. I stopped video games in college. I really wasn't a big video gamer. I would do it once in a while with the guys on after a basketball game, just to kind of de-stress. But other than that, I was constantly working. I was always pushing myself past the point of, like, what, I'm so tired, I don't want to do this anymore. That person next to you that's trying to do the same thing as you, they're going to go to bed.
They're going to keep going.
They're going to go to bed, or they're going to keep going. But you know what? I don't know from that, because I don't see what they're doing. But I need to know that I need to push harder. Right. And that's what kept me going.
And so it wasn't even just necessarily like a time management thing. It was almost like a smart scheduling thing too.
Absolutely.
Like looking at your day.
Yes.
Ahead of time.
Planning ahead. Yes.
Right. So you were not only were you managing your time in a certain way, but you were also strategically scheduling things as you went along.
If you could see my house now, I have a giant 4-month calendar, and my life is pretty much planned out 4 months in advance.
Yeah. Minus this podcast.
I
texted you. I think I texted you Thursday.
It's impromptu, but it's great though.
Yeah, and it worked out perfect.
Yeah, and I'm glad to be here. And this is I have to plan my life out. I have to. There cannot be too many moments in my life where there's a gray area, because those are always times where I kind of lose sight of what I need to do. I have to be focused. I have to be determined. I have to kind of lay out the path to greatness for myself. There's always things that come up. Well, hey, let's go out and grab dinner. Let's go do this. Yes, I'm not saying don't have fun. Trust me. There's a plenty of moments where I drop what I'm doing, because I also need to experience things. Because if I just sit in the office all day, I'm not seeing what's going on out in the real world. Because, mind you, I could be pushing a business, and if I'm not getting out there seeing what the product is out there or anything that's out there, then I can fall to the wayside, because I'm not conforming. I'm not prevalent. I'm not in the moment. Sometimes you have to be in the moment and see things. And then that way, when you get back to your office and you have that quiet moment, you can say, you know what? This avenue that I wanted to go to, I need to switch up. I need to change. Because I see people doing these certain things and asking these certain questions. So I need to say, hey, you know what? My business has to go a different route. And that's how you learn. You have to experience things. So I always push people, if you're going to do something as business oriented, whatever, you have to make sure you are in the field. Make sure you're in the field, because if you're not in the field, you will lose it. You will lose it.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, there's a solid example of that with you, because, and I mean, we'll get into what you're doing now, but essentially you're in the restaurant industry, and you go out and experience these things. Like this weekend, you're at Brews by the Bay. Like what you could go in there and taste a beer that you think is just absolutely delicious, and take that back and be like, yeah, we got to get this on tap. You know, so like you're in the industry, you're staying relevant, so to speak. You know,
and being here at Brews by the Bay, this is a great point of, or a great example of what you just explained. Like I could be for example, I could be a brewer, and I could think I'd be making the greatest beer of all. But if I don't go out and try other people's beer, then I'm always going to think mine's is great. But if I go out and try other people's beer and I'm like, you know what, I need to step my game up. You have to find out where you place yourself or where you place in the world. So, but besides that, yeah, running restaurants and running a beer company, it's great to be here, and we're gonna try some beer today. It's gonna be good.
So, I think the other important thing to touch on with what you were just saying is that I think you got to be humble, and you got to be able to go out and try somebody else's beer or liquor or whatever, food, but I mean, it don't matter. Somebody else's bike shop, whatever it might be. And you got to be able to be humble enough to know when somebody's better.
Absolutely.
And you got to be able to admit that.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying, like, it's not a bad thing if somebody's better, because guess what? Then you can talk to them. You can learn from them. Like,
absolutely.
But you got to be able to eat that slice of humble pie every once in a while and say, this guy's better than me. What's he doing different?
Yep. How is he ahead of the game?
Right.
You know, and sometimes people don't want to give their secrets out, but they honestly, physically don't have to tell you. You just experience it. You know, hey, take a slice of humble pie and say, you know what, I need to get back to my craft and I need to work harder. And that's how it is now. As far as me being in the restaurant industry and running restaurants now, I go out to eat a lot.
Right.
My girlfriend and I, we have to go out to eat. And 9 times out of 10, I am looking over everyone's menu. I am looking over the desserts that they have listed, the time of the year, the decor, the lighting, the silverware, the presentation of the plates, because I take that information back and see what we need to do to be better as well. So yes, always have to take a slice of humble pie. If you don't, that's not a good business practices. You know, you can't think you're the best always, because there always is someone out here better than you, and you have to conform. You have to go out and try.
Now, when you were at Goldie, you finished up your
GBC,
your 4 years.
Yes.
Right? Your undergrad. And then
kept going.
You kept going.
Kept going.
So not only did you went for business, you knew that you wanted to be in business, but you knew that you wanted to go on and expand and go. You knew you wanted to go to college. You didn't want to try and do this, on your own. You wanted to go take the business classes. Mm-hmm. So you go take the business classes, and then you finish up, and you want to keep going.
I didn't have enough. I kept I finished up with that 4-year bachelor's, and I said to myself, education is great. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. I want more. I want more power. And what better way to get more power than to continue learning? Mm-hmm. And that's why I went on to go ahead and do the master classes and everything. And even though everyone with me, 4 years, they're out of here. Mm-hmm. They're gone back into the work field. Me, at that point in my life, I wasn't ready. I needed more information to help me be ready for the outside, the real world.
Why do you think that was?
I think of people that I grew up with that went off to college, and after college, after 4 years, they weren't in the place that they wanted to be. And I said to myself, you know what? Am I going to stop the learning process and try to get into the workplace now? Or should I continue to learn and not be like that person? Not trying to be better, but I just wanted more. I always inspired to do more, to have more, to give more. And at that point in my life, I wasn't ready. So I went on to continue my education, because I didn't want to get out of school and have that mediocre job, or that job where I wasn't happy. Yeah. I wasn't happy.
In the rat race.
Yep, that I wasn't happy with. And ultimately, extending my education, yes, school loans, everything. Mm-hmm. But I've empowered myself, and I have a great job, and I'm paying back the school loans, full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead. So it's you can't put a price on learning. It's
so
tough.
when you finished up your master's at Goldie,
mm-hmm.
you had sold the vending machine company.
Yes.
Now, this was probably right around the time that the apparel thing was coming to an end. Did you just close that, or did you sell that as well?
Right after Goldie, I kept it going for a little while longer. I didn't sell the business. Mm-hmm. it was just time. It had the term of life had ended for that, because you had great companies like Under Armour. Nike was always around, so prevalent, but was booming, and it was time for them to let them do their thing. I felt like I kind of pushed them to go and be greater, because they might have been nervous. They might have heard about a little guy in Wilmington, Delaware, with this cum laude editions sporting brand. They was like, we got to step our game up. And you know what they did? They stepped their game up and kind of pushed me out.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It was a learning experience. I grew from it, and then I moved on. And from there, I went on to get my real estate license.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
And we kept it going.
So you had
next chapter.
At this point in time, you have started and either sold or, I guess, like kind of just dissolved.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
good way to put it.
Built and started and built, 2 companies at this point.
Yes.
You finish up your master's, and this was the wild card for me, so to speak, because I knew you as the business guy, the entrepreneur. You're constantly, here, you're hustling, you're doing this, and then you kind of flip the script.
Yeah,
and you go real estate.
Yep.
So
went real estate, and from there, it gave me the ability to travel the world, because I got a job opportunity that was mind-boggling at my young age, to go travel abroad and sell real estate and explore real estate companies and fellowship with them and learn more abroad. So that led me to go to Southeast Asia for 2 years, almost 2 years, and live it up out there. And that was a great experience. We at that point in time, my real estate company just opened an office in Bangkok, Thailand, and I wanted to go work over there. I wanted to go experience. I wanted to branch out and learn new things, and which would ultimately bring me back and be more powerful than ever, because I've experienced those things. And then we also opened the office in Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, and to spend time over there was great. It was awesome. And of course, if I'm over there working, I gotta see other countries and experience other cultures in the meantime. So
absolutely.
when I did have downtime, it was like, Preston, let's go venture. And that's what I did.
What piqued your interest about the real estate game? Was it the sales? Was it the selling?
It's my mom.
Yeah.
My mom. I everything that I accomplished in my life, I credit to my mom, and also my dad. Though my parents were very, very influential into my success, and still to this day, I talk to my mom every day, maybe 6 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to my dad a couple times a week. My dad is more of like, I know he's doing great. You're all right. Just call me if you need me.
Right.
My mom wants to stay in tune. She wants to find out how everything going. She's very hands-on. And but my parents, they gave me that drive. They gave me that ambition. They gave me that. They gave me the will to win, and all I wanted to do was win. And,
now, I do want to ask you. So you said that your mom was very hands-on, but she also gave you the will to win.
She gave me the tools.
Right.
Yeah.
She gave you the tools. So she's hands-on, but like let's use the vending machines for example.
Yep.
So they kind of set you up with that, right? And mom was hands-on, but to what point was she hands-on, and to what point did she say,
"It's your time.
Go"?
Yeah. That was up until I pretty much went to Asia. She was always kind of like stand back, like, I want to see how far he goes with this.
Okay.
And whenever she stepped back, I was all about continuing to go, and she saw that.
Mm-hmm.
But she really stepped back completely, like turned off the lights and say, "This is your time." When I went to Asia, and the only time I talked to my mom is when I called. She never wanted to. She always wanted to know if I was okay, but
right.
I
mean, you're in another country.
Yeah. But it was at the point where she wanted to see if I can do it far away from her.
Okay.
I couldn't reach out and touch her.
Right.
To say, "Hey, what do I do in this situation?" That was when I had to figure out the problems for myself completely, without anyone, because there was also always a language barrier. I had to figure out those things full-heartedly. So that was Yeah, traveling abroad was definitely the point. Like, hey, I turned in from a boy to a man.
And
At
this
that
was
time
like,
frame.
I mean, and you were probably what,
This was only
like
a couple years ago.
Yeah, 26,
Yeah,
27,
yeah,
somewhere in
yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah, I'm 30. I'm 30 now, and it's great.
yeah.
You know,
So she clipped the wings and kind of just let you go there.
let me
but
fly.
She's your mom's in business too, right?
She does real estate, and she also works for the government. So
Yeah.
she's a dual career agent, and I'm all about dual career.
Mm-hmm.
Dual career, dual career, dual career. In today's time, you have to have more than one avenue of income, more than one avenue of success. And that's with your full-time job and then having a part-time job. It doesn't matter whether you work at Giant and you do photography for weddings on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether you're a school teacher and you're a bartender during the summer. You're a dual career. And that's what we push as people. My mom was always dual career her whole life. That's what she brands herself on, and she instilled that in me to have more than one avenue of income, more than one avenue of success. And this is where we are today.
You've had like 3 avenues going at once though. Like when you were at Goldie, you probably still had the apparel thing going on.
Yeah.
You were teaching Zumba and you were real estate all at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Like you had like 3, 4, 5 things going on. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
The will to win.
Yeah.
The will to win.
Now
It's powerful.
there's one piece of your story that I think that really just changed everything for
Yeah.
you. Like this is why I think this is where everything changed for you.
Absolutely.
And this is where you got on your path, and I'm sure you know exactly what point in time I'm talking about. And it was when you made the decision one summer to get a house in Dewey Beach, Delaware for the summer.
Yes.
You rented a house for the
Yes.
summer,
Yep.
right? So
This is when I came home. Yep.
now, for
Wow.
those of you who are not from this area, don't know this
Yep.
area, don't know anything about Delaware, like nothing about it. Delaware's got a strip of beaches, right?
Yeah.
And it stretches from, the north, basically Cape Henlopen, and it stretches all the way down to Maryland, and then it crosses over into Maryland.
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
All small little beach towns, very similar to the Jersey Shore. You got your
'cause
very
that's the way
you got your very
Drive
very
the shore.
family-centered spots. You got
it's the
like
beach, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah,
the
Bethany
beach,
and
not the shore.
Rehoboth.
Yeah.
That's the big
difference.
right?
Big difference. Not
But
the
you
shore.
have Bethany and Rehoboth, super family-centered.
Yeah.
Kind of I kind of compare those to Ocean City. And then you got your, Dewey is, there's nothing, you can't compare Dewey to anything else. Dewey is a college beach town.
Yes.
It is where a lot of the high school kids go
Yes.
for senior week,
Yes.
After they graduate. It's where a lot of college friends get a house. It's where I feel like a lot of like college reunions happen. It's like you get all your college friends together.
That's what happened with us.
Right?
Yep.
So,
that's what happened with us. Yeah.
So you guys were like, hey, let's get this house for this summer, right? And you were doing real estate at the time.
real estate at the time. Yep.
And you came down here.
I was also teaching Zumba. That was
So you were
another
doing-
avenue.
Yep, you're doing real estate and Zumba because I remember you were teaching Zumba at the Y that's over in Rehoboth.
Yep.
Right? So you're doing those two things, but I think that for people from Delaware, this is like a very common thing to do. Like I know that like a lot of even like high school kids, college kids, like that's what they do. Like a lot of people from this area, they get a house in Dewey for this summer. Like that's kind of like your rite of passage almost.
It absolutely is. Getting a house in Dewey for the summer is a point of letting go. It's a point of having fun. It's a point of all your accomplishments and everything. That's when you celebrate your time here on earth, and this is a time where you celebrate things that you've done so far in your life. We had a college reunion, and we got everybody together. We got a group of guys and group of girls, and we were like, you know what? Let's live the times that we had in college again.
For an entire summer.
For an entire summer.
Not just for like a week. Like
More
so
for
let's
4
set-
months.
Yeah, let's set that straight. So
Yeah.
you guys had the house from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, good stretch. Yep, exactly. And yeah, a lot of fun times and everything. A lot of brother sister love.
Yeah.
That's all we had in the house. We fought, We cried, we laughed, we joked. But it was most importantly, it was the love that we fellowshiped together and the love we had for each other. That was the Dewey House. Dewey House was all about love and having those good times relived again that we did in college.
The first Dewey House, the one over by the Starboard.
Yes, on Salisbury.
Yeah,
Was it Salisbury. Yes, Salisbury.
The first one.
Yep,
Yeah.
Salisbury Street. It's the first one behind Izzy Plaza, and it was great. It was just good enough for us, and we didn't need nothing fancy or nothing lavish, because we're gonna be having fun.
Yeah, you're gonna be out and about, really.
Yeah.
And if you're not out and about living, you're out and about working.
One or the other.
Right.
That was it.
Now, how many of the people in the house were here like you were 24/7? You know, or did some of them have like full-time jobs that they had to go back to? Not down here.
Well, during the summer, they all relocated and worked down here.
Okay.
After the summer is when everyone's job kind of forced them to go back to where they were from.
Right.
And or some people actually took different avenues. At that point in my time in my life, I was, you know what, I like it down here. Let me try a winter. Let's see what happens. And I stayed for a winter. It was the worst winter of all time. It would snow up to your knees. But ultimately, it was the people that kept me here.
Yeah.
It was the love. That love that we had in that Dewey House, it trickled over to the people from the Dewey House going back into that love going to other folks that lived down here and that grew up here. And I never wanted to separate myself from that. And I took that into account, and I was like, you know what, let's stick around for a little bit. Let's see how this thing works, you know? And
because it's a whole
good.
different ball game
absolutely.
in the winter.
Totally.
Like, I mean, I've been
From where I'm from, yes.
Yeah, well, and I've been down into the Jersey Shore. Like, even I would say that if this wasn't Brews at the Bay weekend, I bet you half of these we're in an RV, campsite.
Yep.
I bet you half of these sites wouldn't have campers or RVs on them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It would probably be empty.
Yeah, Deadsville, and it's a shame because you guys are gonna have like one of the most beautiful weekends we've had in the last 2 months. It's gonna be gorgeous.
75 degrees, no clouds, just clear blue skies.
It seems like after Labor Day, it just shuts down. So
yes.
All those fun times that you were having during the summer,
yes.
You're like, oh yeah, this is great. I love this. I'm going to the Starboard. I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Starboard closes.
Yes.
North Beach closes.
Yes.
Like all these fun spots that you were going to, they close.
Yep.
So
we made fun at that point. We made fun times within our own homes, and it wasn't like party. It was more just getting together and ordering a bunch of pizza and watching a TV show or a TV series or a movie. That's where we fellowshipped at that point. And it made me relax a lot more coming from where I come from is hustle and bustle. As you see, my parents, they're busybodies. They don't slow down for not one bit. I could call my mom one day. She's in D.C. The next day, she's in New York City. The next day, she's in Charleston, South Carolina. Busybodies. They constantly move. But it made me, being here, it made me slow down a little bit and kind of relish what I have and kind of take into account, like, I don't have to move 1,000,000 miles an hour to get things done.
Yeah.
Not saying that, my parents didn't work smart and hard, but they worked hard. But it kind of just made me take into account where work really does for your life. You have to have some downtime. You have to have some moments where you just kind of look back and say, you know what, life is good, but I still want more. I still have the will to win, and that's what Dewey did for me. We had fun, but the calmness kind of made me look into myself and say, where's the next step? Where's the next push? Where's the next experience that I want to accomplish in my life? Because you only get one life, and there are experiences where that cross my mind and it's like, you know what? That's something I want to do.
Yeah.
That's something I want to look into. That's something I may want to achieve. And it was here in Sussex County, Delaware, where that took place for me.
When did you know that you weren't going home, you were home?
After that first winter. From first summer to winter, I knew I wasn't going anywhere. That was another changing point in my life.
Like we said,
it's
it's a whole different ball game in the summer. Anybody could live at the beach.
Anybody.
If it were like the summer all the time, like anybody could live there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
What?
It was the slow pace.
What was it in the wintertime that made you, or was it a few things that really made you like, okay, I could live here?
It was a few things. It was the calmness. It was the people. It was the reflection time. Those three factors right there made it so easy for me to make this and call this my home. I love Sussex County. I never thought that I would be here. I thought I would be back in New York City, or in DC, living back into that city element.
Fast pace, go.
But it's the slower lower that I fell in love with, and it ultimately led me to meet my wonderful and beautiful girlfriend, and that I love dearly, and to Sussex County, which I love dearly. And those two things with her and Sussex County, I can't go wrong.
Yeah, and so
it pushes me to go. It pushes me to keep going.
Right, which is funny because you keep going, you keep grinding, but it's also it's a slower. I guess it's a slower grind, right?
It's a slower and even more smarter grind than anything. I just put myself in position now with the things that I've learned and the things that I've earned as far as income and everything. I take those and now I invest, and now I place in savings account. I place in CDs. To know that my future is secure later on. I live comfortable now, but as I get older, I digress from working, or I work from home, and when that day comes for me to retire, that I know that I can go back to the savings account or this CD and say, you know what, it's time. It's reached its maturity, and let's pull out and let's go live even more. So, and that's why I try to push kids continue to want more, continue to push. Also, learn finances. Finances is a big key in life. I want everybody to be empowered. I want everybody to know that money is not everything, but money is very important for your overall success in life. Put some away. Don't spend it all. If you make $100, don't go ballistic and think, you're Sean P. Diddy Puffy Combs and ready to go live a wild lifestyle, live a great lifestyle. You got to put things in perspective. Always make sure that you secure your future down the road. Don't live in the moment, but don't spend like you're in the moment.
yeah, I hear you.
But if you can afford it, do it. But also always do checks and balances and think about, hey, do I need to spend this? Is this a need or is this a want? And then once you think about certain things like that, the things that you do or the things that you purchase are calculated, and it would overall put you in a better position when the time comes where you don't want to work anymore, and you'd be like, I'm done.
Yeah, but
I want to spend time.
I think you made some strategic moves when you came down here too, because I mean, let's face it,
I bought a trailer. I didn't buy a house. I bought a trailer.
Yeah, but I mean, even in business, not financially, but let's say in networking, you made some strategic moves to put yourself in position. Because let's face it, I mean, like, you could talk to anybody, anywhere about anything. Like, you have that. Like, you can talk and you can meet people and you could meet somebody one time and you'll remember their name.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
so you have that personality, but you made some real smart moves to get you into positions when you got down here. So talk to me a little bit about that.
I believe that is all a testament to my personality and my character. My character, the way I go about things and the way I love people. First and foremost, I love people. I love meeting new people. I love building bridges and not putting up walls. I can walk into a restaurant not knowing a soul. Anyone.
Not in Sussex County.
And yeah. Well, no, in Sussex County you can too. But I would walk out knowing everyone because people make me happy. I love hearing where people come from. I love hearing people's stories. And with listening to people, it gives me a greater fondness of that person. And I build a friendship and I build a bridge. I come from a place where there's a lot of bridges. I want to build a bridge. Never put up a wall. When you put up a wall, you have closed that door to a person. You have closed that door to possibly an opportunity. You have closed that door to a possible experience that could change your life. Don't put up walls. Make bridges. And that's what I do. And my character pushes that. My love for people pushes that. And it led me to my success. It wouldn't. Yes, I work hard. But my success comes from me loving people. No matter what race, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what you're wearing, you meet them with open arms. Yeah. And you never know where that person comes from, or you never know what that person has to offer for you. So, yeah.
And essentially,
that's where my success comes from.
And you went from basically your course was you went from like a bar back
yeah.
to
even though I had money.
Right.
I wanted to start at the bottom.
And you did. You started at the bottom as a bar back. You were hustling cases of beer up to the bar. You weren't the guy standing behind the bar making the money.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So
I was doing the dirty work. I was doing the hard labor, intensive work.
Yeah.
Even though I had money.
That humble pie that we were talking about. Like
I took a slice.
Yeah.
Took a slice. I wanted my level of my work ethic never changed. It always wanted to be upbeat and wanted to be great. But I took a piece of humble pie and said to myself, you know what, I want to start from the bottom because this is a new area for me, and work my way up. I never like to, because if you try to smooth into the top, then people are gonna think you're too good or you're flaunting or you're not genuine. Listen, I'm starting from the bottom, and I'm going to make my way. Whether it's to the top or not, I'm going to make my way, regardless.
And would you say you're at the top right now?
No.
With what you're doing?
No.
No.
Nowhere near.
Not close.
Nowhere
right?
near. Nowhere near the top. I have so much more to learn, so much more to give, so much more to experience. I think I may never reach the top, but I'm going to be pretty damn close. Can I curse on this?
Yeah, go for it.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah,
I'm going to be close. When it's all said and done, when I close my eyes and I leave this world behind, I will be pretty damn close to the top.
And what's the top for you? Like, what is the top for you?
The top is a family, kids, a house, giant yard, red door, white picket fence, retired, in a wheelchair, loving life, and looking back on all the experiences and telling stories to my grandkids. That's when I'll get pretty close.
Now, what's the top?
I don't have to be in a wheelchair. I can still be walking, but I just want to be old and seasoned and looking at the hard work that I've done live off into my kids and live off to my grandkids.
And industry-wise, what's the top for you?
Industry-wise, the top for me? Wow, that's a really good question. Industry-wise, the top for me would be, honestly, I don't know. My ultimate goal in life, I always wanted to own my own, sports franchise. If I can be, a sports owner, industry wise and working wise. That would be
Right.
my job, is to run a franchise, a sports franchise, a NFL, NBA. I love an NBA team, but
Yeah.
that would, work wise, industry wise, that would be my top. May that happen? Yeah. Never close the door, but yeah.
And what about down here? Like you want to own your own restaurant down here? You want to just manage restaurants down here? Because I mean that's what you're doing. Like right now, essentially you're managing
Yeah.
restaurants and
Yeah, I would love to own a restaurant just so my girlfriend can, continue to eat for free and love life. But yeah, I would love to open a restaurant just so I can continue to meet people. That would be my avenue to building bridges and not putting up walls.
Yeah.
Even though that I have a restaurant, that would be my avenue when I walk through and do table touches. And,
right, you be there
and just meet new faces. Thank you for coming in. Where you from? What's your name? And then that way I can build more friends. So that would be great. I thank you for saying that. I didn't want to say that, but that's.
And the next time that person comes in,
because I would probably eat all the food. Because I love food.
Next time that person comes in, you're gonna know their name too.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
Absolutely.
Like you have this name memory that like I can't even, because the number of people that you meet in the restaurant industry and like the bars and people who come in, like you could see somebody one time who comes on family vacation to Dewey Beach for the summer. They come the same week in July every single year.
Yeah.
They come into your bar, they say what's up to you, and next year when they come back, same week, you know their name.
I know their name. I know their drink order. I know what they like. I know pretty much where they're from, where their main primary home is, and this would be like their secondary home. I've already built up muscle memory of their life for my own personal reference.
Mm-hmm.
But that personal reference turns into a personal benefit. That personal benefit turns into a personal success.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the steps that it takes. Those are the steps that gradually happen. You don't have to want it. It naturally happens. And that's where it goes. That's where it goes from there.
How much of what you learned at Goldie versus what you learned on the fly as you were going in the industry, like percentage-wise, that you use? Like how much of your Goldie education knowledge do you use versus how much of your on-the-job learning?
50-50.
Yeah?
It would be 50-50. Goldie is the maturation. It's the taking in. On the job is the experience. Those things meet hand in hand. They fall within the same balance. And that's how I can excel. So they meet themselves 50-50. Goldie, when I was in Goldie, 100%. When I was, just working, 100%. But now that I have that learning experience under my belt, thank you, Goldie Beacon College, greatest thing that ever happened to me. And now, thanks to my work and what I do in life, they go hand in hand. So 50% is what I continue to carry on with, probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It will go hand in hand.
Yeah. And how many places are you managing
7
right now?
7 restaurants.
And they're all
3. Yeah, we're building 3 more within the next year and a half. It'll be 10 by the end of by mid 2020. Which is great. It's keeping me busy.
Yeah.
It's keeping me humble. It's keeping me going.
Well, because I'm sure you learn along the way too. Like when you first started coming up and you were managing restaurants, you weren't opening new places. You weren't setting up like, all right, we're gonna put this table here. The bar's gonna go over here. You know what I mean? And even if you were, I mean, no offense, but they weren't gonna come and ask you like, hey, Preston, what do you think? Like you were the up and comer.
Yeah,
you know
I was the new kid on the block.
Right.
It was, no, it wasn't coming for me. But yeah, it was how should I say it? It's a point of reference. It was a point of continuing on. I had to start from the bottom. It was only right, and anybody should want to strive for that. So.
Yeah, but I mean that's got to be cool as shit now. Like I
look back on it. I'm like, you know what? I'm still a good shucker. I'm still a good oyster shucker. I'm still a great bar back. I can run stuff like no other because my process, I know, is a lot better than others. that bar back now. I've been through those times where it's like crazy. You know, now everything is all simple. They simplify it for the bar backs now. I was when the ice cooler was out in a small shed and you had to walk 100 feet to get to it. Now they, you know, a lot of the businesses down here now have thrived and done great. Now the oyster the ice bin is right next to the bar. They just scoop and dump.
Right.
I had to trek across a parking lot, you know, to get there.
Yeah.
But you know, all in time, you know.
When I forget who I was
good.
talking to, I was just talking to somebody for the podcast, and
Yeah.
in their interview, you know, we both agreed because they were owning businesses and managing people and everything
Yeah.
that they didn't when they asked somebody to go do something in their business, it was something that they had once done before. You know what I mean? So it was like
Yeah.
if they were asking somebody to go fill the ice bucket, like,
Yep.
yo, can you go fill that ice bucket and bring it
I've
up?
been there.
You've done it already.
I've been there.
You know what I mean? So you're never going to ask somebody to do something that you haven't done yourself before.
Everything in the restaurant that other people do for me now, I've done before. I've oyster shuck, I've bar backed, I've expoed, I've ran food, I've served, I've cooked. I've done it all. I've managed. Only part I haven't done is own.
Yeah.
And that may come, that may not, but we'll see.
And I think that's big when it comes to like the respect from people who are working under you. I mean, I think people have more respect for
Yeah.
you if you've done it.
Absolutely. They take what you say full-heartedly. And they don't take it as a point where like, oh, he's just shooting the shit. Can I really curse on here?
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
you
okay.
can just let it
They're
fly.
just shooting the shit,
Yeah.
and he don't know what he's talking about. He's full of shit. I'm moving on. I'm not listening to him.
Right.
But people take what I say, they take it to heart, and they say, you know what, Preston's been here.
Right, he knows.
I want to, but I make sure that, listen, if you want where I am today, you gotta bust your tail. You gotta bust your ass, and do it with a smile. And you know what? Working hard builds character. It builds character. And you know what? I tell all the people that I work with, every single one of them, you want my job? Come take it. I will gladly give it to you. You know why? Because I'll look back and say, you know what? I pushed that person.
You trained him well. Right.
I brought him up well.
That should be the goal.
Yep. It's like Misty Miyagi and
Yeah.
Daniel-san.
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off. The bonsai tree. I've trained you well, Daniel-san.
Yeah.
Now go get 'em.
Right. You want them to take yours because you're trying to go take somebody else's.
I'm trying to go up too. It's like a circle. Yep, I love it.
So, what's next? I mean, I know you got, like 3-4 restaurants that you're going to be opening over the next couple years, but
Yeah. What's next? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I know I always talk about a plan,
yeah.
but as far as what's next for me as like a goal,
Yeah.
like a personal goal, or work goal.
Give me one of each.
Personal goal is to get married. That was getting married to. When the day comes for me to get married, that would be one of the most highlight points of my life. That's my next goal.
That's gonna be a wild day.
It's
Wild.
It's gonna be wild, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting married is my next personal goal. As far as work, it would be to it would probably be to own, or real estate, or just because don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, I still do real estate as well. It would probably be work. I would probably be real estate full time. I would probably leave the restaurant industry and go do more in new experiencing challenges as far as the real estate is concerned, because that all in all, it's another way for me to take care of my family. It's another way to meet more people,
Right.
and also see homes, because I love to look at homes and travel. So yeah, my next work goal would be to be real estate full. Work goal would be real estate full time.
Or own a restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I would love that that flexible schedule. Yeah, or own a restaurant, one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you're not going to get that flexible schedule owning a restaurant.
No, that's hands-on work, buddy.
Yeah.
That's hands-on.
All day long.
That's no joke. 24 hours, 365.
Yeah.
Until you put good people in place to run it for you. But,
Right.
Yeah, but that comes in time. My boss,
Yeah.
he didn't leave the restaurant. Actually, he still hasn't left the restaurants, and he's been in business for 14 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's well established.
Mm-hmm.
The restaurants that you're managing right now are well established restaurants,
Absolutely.
especially down here in this
Yeah.
community.
Absolutely.
And he's still in it, probably still there every single day.
He's building a brand.
Yeah,
He is building a brand. And,
but he's doing
it's
it
good.
right. Like he's setting himself up.
Yes.
You know.
Yep. I always say he's setting himself up for the great escape because he can sell everything off at one time and go,
Yeah.
which is good, which is what a lot of people do.
Right. Yeah.
But I love working for him. I love my boss, and I definitely look at him as a father figure, and he definitely pushes me to look at the little intricate detail.
Right.
He is very detail oriented, and he can notice something when something's misplaced or something's changed, and he doesn't have to say much. He just picks up on it.
Right.
So, as far as his like key to detail, I would love to get more of that from him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that aspect I would love to learn more from him and how he sees the process and how he sees little things that make the big things work.
Yeah, and he's got like he probably has an eye for stuff and a vision for stuff that
Oh yeah.
you could learn a lot from, but there's
Absolutely.
probably some stuff that he has that it's just he can't. It's just something that he can't give to somebody else. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. He can't give it to you.
Right.
You have to be open to receive the waves. He can't physically give it to you. You just have to open up and feel the genuineness, the sweetness, the what is it? What word am I looking for? The level of expectancy from what you have.
And I mean there may be some things that he just I mean there are some things that people have that like others don't.
To each his own.
Yeah.
Yep.
Others just don't have it, and it's not something you could share.
Yep.
It's not something you could pass to somebody. It's not
Yep.
something you could teach to somebody.
Yep.
They just some people have it and some
Yep.
people don't.
And
like
some-
it's like an eye for art and all
Yep.
like that kind of stuff. Like
And some people think it's some people's special gifts. Other people think it's a bad thing. It's their gift. I know people that could build a computer, but wouldn't know how to plug it in a wall when the time comes. But they know how to build the tool that could lead to other things, that could lead to other people's success. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's good, man.
It is.
Life is great. Life is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna be real beautiful today too.
I know that's right. I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, they're getting ready to kick it off here. So
Yep.
I just look like the one last question that, and I ask a lot of my guests this one, but I want to I want to get an answer from you because I know that it's gonna be. There's going to be a little bit of a different because you're not just going to say, oh, work hard or, oh, do this or, oh, take the first step, you know, like the standards. Because, as you know, it's the Do It For Yourself podcast. And,
Do it for
you know,
yourself.
you've been doing it for yourself
Since I was born.
Right, 15, 16 years
Since I
old.
was
You
born,
got the
yep.
first, vending machine. And now you're like, as I said, your big step to do it for yourself was when you made the decision to stay down here. I don't
Yes.
think coming down here for the summer was where that happened. You know what I mean? I think it was, I think it was after that winter you made the decision. You're
Yeah.
like, I got a lot of friends that are up there, but I got to stay down here. Like, this is
Yep.
where my calling is.
Yep.
I'm going to do it for
do
myself.
Do it for myself. Yep.
So you got somebody who's standing in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
They have something that they want to do for themselves. Maybe they want to move to the beach, spend their time there. Maybe they want to, start a business. Maybe they want to start a weight loss journey. Maybe they want to get into fitness. Maybe they want to do a triathlon. It doesn't matter what it is. They want to do something for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't started yet. They have every excuse in the book. I don't have time.
Mhm.
I can't do this. I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. What do you say to them?
Feel the fear and go for it. We fear what we don't know. We fear the process. Feel the fear and go for it. The only way you're going to get to what you need to do or what you would like to achieve is you got to feel the fear. Don't run away from it. Don't shy from it. Don't try to hide behind a tree. Don't try to lay underneath a rock. Go for it. Head first. Feel the fear and go for it. And ultimately, that will push you to your destiny, because practice makes perfect. You got to go through the hardships to experience the joy. You got to go through the downs to experience the highs. And you got to feel the fear and go for it. Do it for yourself.
I dig it, man.
Do it for yourself. Can I ask you a question now?
Yeah.
So with you and the podcast,
Yeah.
do it for yourself. Where do you see yourself with this podcast within the next couple years?
So when I started this, this selfishly because I wanted to meet other people who were doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear their stories. I wanted to talk with them.
Yeah.
I wanted to get their stories out there, right? So this was a personal thing for me, and I had a goal of doing it for 1 year, 52 episodes, right? 52 episodes, 1 episode a week. There's 52 weeks in the year.
Yep.
Bam, I wanted to hit it,
Yep.
right? So I missed 1 week so far. I was traveling. I just didn't have, it got away from me, and I missed 1 week. I don't have an excuse. I mean, there's no reason. I could have done it, but I missed 1 week so far, right? So I missed 1 week. I would have never thought when I launched in January that I would have, the downloads that I've had so far. Like, I never thought that it would become something. I was just going into it, right? Like, I was just launching into it because it was something that I wanted to start, and I knew that there were I knew that I could have 52 people that could do it for themselves.
Yeah.
So where do I see it? I see it going, 2 years, 3 years, like, just because out of my list of people, I've had some that turned around and said no, and I was like, oh. I never really thought that somebody would turn around and say no. I thought it was something that would be cool.
Yeah,
but I've had people that said no, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not doing that. So, that was interesting. But there's so many people out there who are doing it for themselves.
Absolutely.
And I want to
tap into
that and meet new people. But then on the other side of it, I'm already planning spin-off shows. I want to talk with.
There you go.
Well, I want to talk with triathlon coaches and do a once a month show with a triathlon coach who can say, okay, this is the point in the season where we are. This is what we should be doing. This is how we should be feeling. This is how we should be. I want to have pro triathletes on top of the field. You know what I mean? And have regular people just ask them questions.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And just bring as much value, as much entertainment as I can to people.
Absolutely.
So I started it as a project for 1 year, and I'm having so much fun doing it that I think it's gonna just keep going.
Right on, brother. Right
you know
on.
What I mean,
keep it going. Don't stop.
All right.
Yeah.
T-minus 20 minutes before things start getting wild down here.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it first. This is it. Do it for yourself. Feel the fear and go for it. The will to win. Strive to be great. Don't settle for less. This is Preston James Russell. Hashtag, find me on Instagram. It's P Diddy 1242. PDIDDY 1242. And you can follow me. Follow my journey. Follow my life.
Yeah.
Tap into me and ask me some questions. I may not respond quick, but I will respond because I love communicating with people. So P Diddy 1242. And I just wanted, first and foremost, I wanted to thank you for bringing me on this podcast.
Absolutely.
I couldn't ask for a better moment in time than right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This was, talk about in the moment. This was 100% in the moment, but we made it work, and it was absolutely perfect.
Yep. In my RV at Bruce by the Bay. Yeah. And we made it happen.
For sure.
Yep. Time is a terrible thing to waste. Let's do it. Love you, man.
Love you. Love you, bro. Peace. Feel the fear and go. How about that one? That was my interview with P. What did you think? I'll tell you what, that is a very powerful quote, and I was just almost speechless when P said that for the first time, and I still am just hearing that quote gets me charged up. I was texting P the other night and just said, saying thanks for coming on the show. And he closed out the text with feel the fear and go. And I just absolutely love it. If you get a chance, definitely drop P a message on Instagram. He left his Instagram handle there in some of our closing comments. And I know that he would love to hear from you. He would love to hear what you thought about the show. And he would love to connect with you. And when you connect with P, I promise you that you are going to have a friend for life in him. He's just that kind of guy. So I want to say thank you again for coming on the show, opening up your RV. That was like by far one of the coolest places that I've had the opportunity to do a podcast so far in this very short period of doing this. So thank you again to P. And I also want to say thanks to you, the listeners, for coming in, hanging out with P and I this week. We loved having you here, and we would love to have you back again next week. If you would like to support the show, please do me a favor and just share this episode with a friend. It's by far the easiest way to support this show and to help us grow. So I hope that you enjoyed this interview, and I look forward to bringing you next week's episode with my very first couple interview. I get a chance to interview a couple for the show and share it with you guys. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'll see you next week. Peace.